Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Today we're going to talk about tracking and monitoring. This is probably one of the more important things that we in these days need to understand, because right now we are the generation that loves our communications. We like all of our fancy devices that help us to communicate. We like our cell phones. We like our electronic cars. We are a nation that has fallen in love with our electronics. But all of these wonderful electronics, understand, under the control of the Antichrist, the beast, will all be turned against us. So today, we have to kind of take a critical look at some of our wonderful, beloved electronic devices. So let's start with probably the most famous scriptures in all of Bible prophecy. If you ask anybody, maybe they don't know anything about the Bible, but they can tell you that the number of the devil is 666. Well, these are the verses where they get this, and these are the verses. And as I think about it, this is about the only place in the Bible that reveals to us that we're going to be tracked and monitored. Let's read it. Revelation 13:15. And he, meaning the beast, he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause. Now, I believe the image of the beast is probably going to be a clone. Probably that is some kind of a man-computer mix where mankind can be mixed in with computers, which, by the way, I heard that there's a movie out now that is talking about exactly that, half man, half machine. I don't even think that's the first one. Image of the beast should both speak and cause, as many who do not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So there is a time coming when all people on the earth will be required to worship the image of the beast. That's probably bend the knee, take an oath. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, that's everybody, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And according to Ken Peters, that mark will look like a Mexico sun, with the splashes of flames coming out. And then the center, it'll have another picture of a hand having this mark. And this mark, according to the Bible, and according to what Ken Peters says he saw, went between the thumb and the forefinger, the thumb and the forefinger. It's that little web between your thumb and forefinger. Now, here's the point I want you to get to. This is where it's talking about tracking and monitoring. And that no man might buy or sell. I'll say it again. And that no man might buy or sell. Say it again. And that no man might buy or sell, meaning that there's a time coming when no one on the planet will be able to buy or sell unless they are a part of some system. That's part of what we're going to talk about too. And then no man might buy or sell, so if he had the mark, that's one thing, or the name of the beast, that's a second thing, or the number of his name, any one of the three. And there's another place that also indicates there's actually four things. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it's the number of a man. So that erases any question. Some people have thought the beast or the Antichrist is not really a person. Yes, he is a real person. Number of a man is the number of 666 or 666. But the point is, where it says, and then no man might buy or sell. Okay, so let's talk about that. So how can you say that no one's going to be able to buy or sell unless they have the mark, the name of the beast, or the number of his name? Well, the only way you can do that is that you track every purchase. So how do you track every purchase? Well, the 4G, as we've talked about before, had a 1.4 download. That's as fast as you could get 4G. But 5G is supposed to have a download 10 times faster, and it's going to be linked through, when it is fully implemented, into 12,000 low Earth orbiting satellites. And just the other day, I read an article where they just put up, 64 of them in 9 minutes? 64 satellites in 9 minutes. So putting up 12,000 satellites, and by the way, they're supposed to have it in place and working by 2024. Think about that. That means that the system, if their goal is right, and I didn't write the goal, okay? This is SpaceX doing it. If they reach their goal, and they probably will, might even do it early, if their goal is correct, that means that the Mark of the Beast system, this system is going to be in place. I didn't say it, they said it, by 2024. Well, since we know that the Mark of the beast is required in the middle of the tribulation. I believe it is introduced at the beginning of the 7-year tribulation. So you want to back up, assuming that the mark of the beast is required in 2024. I didn't say it was, but assuming it is, that would mean that the tribulation would start, pretty soon, right? Think about it. Okay, let's go on. We're talking about tracking and monitoring. Did you know that every communication, for sure in the United States, and probably every communication on the globe is already tracked and monitored? Did you know that? I mean, we've had various speakers on from former FBI agents and things like that. Every phone line, if it flies through the air, they catch it. If it goes through a line, whether it's a copper line or whether it's fiber or optics or whatever it is, if it goes from A to B, in America for sure, and really around the globe, it's all caught. Every phone, every internet, every email. I mean, just like saying, when I heard that Hillary Clinton had bleach bit her computer and destroyed 33,000 emails, I just said, no, she didn't. No, she didn't. It's in some computer someplace. I don't know the computer, but trust me, it's out there. So she didn't destroy a cotton picking thing, as we say here in Texas. Okay, so every phone, every internet. What about highway tolls? You know, I pulled up and was stopped at a stoplight and I looked up and there's my friendly camera staring right back, because almost every major intersection all has cameras, toll roads, toll booths, all cameras. And what do you think they're doing with that? You think they're just throwing away that footage? Oh, no. No, they have supercomputers and they keep it all. They know where we are. Not only that, but the apps in your phone. Did you know that many of the apps track every minute of your day where you go? Many of them track your text and I'm not talking now, in other words, I'm talking about the app itself actually tracks you in addition to what the government does. So we have intersections with cameras, highway tolls, highways with cameras. Did you also know that over 50% of our downtown and major buildings are all monitored by cameras? As a matter of fact, did you know in America you probably can't even get into an elevator without being on a camera? And you know, sometimes it's not just cameras, sometimes it's also audio. Remember the football player that got in trouble because he was slapping his girlfriend around, and it was caught on the camera in the elevator as well as the camera outside the elevator? How many times have we caught the bad guys because of cameras? Oh, yeah, we say, oh, well, that's okay because we caught a bad guy. Okay, well, here's the question. The Bible says that everybody that doesn't receive the mark of the beast is going to be termed a bad guy. So what happens when the bad guys are in control and they control all of this technology? Ask yourself this. What would Hitler have done if he had had cell phones in the hands of every person? Think about it. Your cell phone is, they say, not turned off. Even if you turn it off, they can still activate it in your pocket, in your purse, on your desk. Even though you have it turned off, they can still activate the phone, the earpiece, as well as the camera. And how many of you have Alexa? Alexa, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I listen once I hear the wake word.
See, did you hear that? I have Alexa. So I'm part of the problem here. So I have a lot of technology too. I have an internet phone beside me. I have all the gizmos I have to make the radio broadcast. Back over behind me, I have Wi-Fi. I normally have an Apple Watch on. So you know what? I'm up to my eyeballs in it too. But here's the point. Ask yourself this. What happens when the day arrives that no man can buy or sell unless you're part of their system? Means they're going to be able to find us, and they will, and then you're going to have a decision to make. You can take that mark? You're going to lose your salvation? Okay, so next question. How do we link into this global financial system? See, because no man can buy or sell, say we had the mark, that means every transaction is monitored. Well, how can you do it securely? The answer is your cell phone. Now, I don't have a code on my cell phone. I hate it. I want to be able to pick it up just like an old-fashioned phone and talk, or I don't have to go through a code. So I don't do any of that code stuff, and I certainly don't do any of this facial recognition or put your thumbprint here, and I don't do any of that. As a matter of fact, if they required that of my phone, I already told my wife, I said, I ain't gonna do it. I'm not doing it. I will get rid of a cell phone, but I'm not doing it. So when it comes time for people, in other words, I'm very resistant to Mark of the Beast stuff. So when it comes time, what they'll do is say you have to log on, not with a code, not a 3-digit, not a 7 or a 5-digit, or any of these kind of complicated codes. You will have to use some form of a biometric, be it a thumbprint, a face print, some kind of biometric, palm print. Maybe you put your palm right against the face of some advanced cell phone. I don't know, but I can tell you that you will have to use a biometric. Your cell phone will be the way that you link into the new quantum financial system that is going to be linked in through the new 5G phone system into the 9 satellites that tie into the quantum financial computer. And you will not be able to buy or sell unless you use your cell phone with your biometric access code, and then everything is going to be a digital currency. Oh, how soon? How soon? Well, maybe 2024. Maybe it starts this month. I've told you there's a new financial system coming. This is it. What I'm saying is Bible prophecy is not happening in 2024. It's happening in 2019. It's happening now. Here's another one. Headline: exclusive. High-altitude balloons promise a cheap monitoring platform that could follow multiple cars and boats for extended periods. Multiple cars and boats for extended periods. Okay, let's turn this around and let's apply it to Bible prophecy. How would that headline read? Exclusive. High-altitude balloons promise a cheap monitoring platform that can now find resistors of the New World Order in their cars, in their boats, or out hiding in the rocks or in the woods. Listen, the new balloons could follow multiple cars and boats for extended periods. The U.S. military is conducting wide area surveillance tests across 6 Midwest states using experimental high-altitude balloons. Documents filed with the Federal Communications Commission, that means this is real, up to 25 unmanned solar-powered balloons. Did you catch that? 25 unmanned solar-powered balloons are being launched from rural South Dakota and drifting 250 miles through an area spanning portions of Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Missouri before concluding in central Illinois. Now, did the question occur to you, how do they know it's going to conclude in central Illinois? How do they know that? My guess is because they have a way to bring it down when they want, and a way to lift it up when they want, a way to set it at so many thousand feet off of the earth when they want. Are you catching? Let's go on. Traveling in the stratosphere at altitudes of up to 65,000 feet. Yeah, but it didn't say it may also be altitudes of only 500 feet. Maybe they're peeking into our windows. The balloons are intended to, quote, provide a persistent surveillance system to locate and deter narcotic trafficking, homeland security threats, and that's a parenthesis, according to this filing. The balloons are carrying high-tech radars designed to simultaneously track many individual vehicles. It says vehicles. You know that they can also track individuals. In other words, all these people that think they're going to grab their bug-out bags and run out into the woods and they're safe, maybe in World War II times, not today. They will use thermal imaging and they will find you. Hiding in a cave, you're going to light a fire, they will find you. It's not a matter of them, maybe they'll find you. Sometimes they're looking, sometimes they're not. In the days ahead, brothers and sisters, they will find you. So bottom line here is, before we even get through this whole article, is you're going to have to make a decision. You're going to either take the mark or you're going to lose your head. So my advice is that you set your jaw, that's the way we talk in Texas, you set your jaw right now that you're not going to take that mark. You're not going to take that mark, no matter what. You're not going to take that mark. It goes on to say, balloons are high-tech radars designed to simultaneously track many individual vehicles day or night through any kind of weather. Not going to be able to hide. The tests, which have not previously been reported, received an FCC license. They're already approved now to operate from mid-July till September, following similar flights licensed last year. Now, this, again, is in the day and time when things are happy. But let's go on. Arthur Holland Michael, the co-director of the Center of the Study of the Drone by Bard College in New York, said, "What this new technology promises is to watch everything at once." Watch everything at once. Hitler would have loved it. Sometimes it's referred to as combat TiVo because when an event happens somewhere in the surveilled area, you can potentially rewind the tape to see exactly what occurred. Is that the reason they're able to catch some of these people that are killing people? Remember the guy, what was it, up in Iowa someplace? He killed this lady, caught her out jogging. They never find out who it was, and then all of a sudden they found him. Well, I suspected from the very get-go that it is because actually, they're already recording. Some people... I can't talk about that. I'll just say this. Some people have told me that actually every inch of the globe is already monitored. And if they wanted to find out who robbed a bank or who stole this or whatever it was, if a satellite can see it, they already see it. It's only going to get worse. And rewind even further back to see who was involved and where they came from. They're already doing this. They're just now telling us about it. The tests have been commissioned by the U.S. Southern Command, or SOUTHCOM, which is responsible for disaster relief, intelligence operations, and security operation in the Caribbean, Central, and South America. I'm telling you, it's already all over. SOUTHCOM is a joint effort by the U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, and other forces, and one of its key roles is identifying and intercepting drug shipments headed for the United States. Okay, wait a minute. Let me read that again. One of their key roles is identifying and intercepting drug shipments headed to the United States. Okay, then ask ourselves a question. If it's the good guys in charge of this technology, then why do we have drugs on our streets? Why do we have people able to sneak across our border? See, the Democrats are already saying, well, we could just put up an invisible fence and just use our high technology to keep them from sneaking into America. Well, you really already have that? So that tells me you're not catching them now. So that tells me that this is actually already in the hands of the bad guys. The good guys would have already stopped this, you see, and they're not stopping it. So that already tells us where they are now and just how bad it's going to get in the future. The article goes on to say, the U.S. military is launching unmanned surveillance balloons over portions of the Midwest. Quote, "We do not think that American cities should be subject to wide area surveillance in which every vehicle could be tracked wherever they go." Well, I agree. The problem is it really already is to a certain degree. This just makes it a little bit easier to track every place. How we say? See, they can't reveal to everybody that they actually already see every inch of the globe. They can't reveal that. But if they put these surveillance balloons up there, that makes it easy for the lower quality people to be able to help them in their pursuit of you folks that didn't take the mark of the beast. Let me go on. Even in tests, they're still collecting a lot of data on Americans. Who's driving to the Union House, the church, the mosque, the Alzheimer's clinic, he said. We should not go down the road of allowing this to be used in the United States, and it's disturbing to hear that these tests are being carried out by the military, no less. Well, it's not going to be. They're already in place. For many years, Sierra Nevada has supplied SOUTHCOM with light aircraft packed with millions of dollars worth of sensors, which then flew over Mexico, Colombia, Panama, and Caribbean. Say, okay, hold on. Then how come they aren't able to stop all of the immigrants? Why can't they stop all of the drugs coming into America? They have the technology. Why can't they do it? Why can't they detect these boats? I mean, if they can track everybody in the nation in terms of the car, why can't they stop these boats full of cocaine and marijuana and things like that? They can. But planes require expensive crews and can only fly for a few hours at a time. In a report to the Senate Armed Services Committee this February, Southcom's commander wrote, "While improving efficiency, we still only successfully interdicted about 6% of the known drug movements." Well, that is the problem, isn't it? You see, if they're tracking us in every one of the major stoplights, the major highways, in elevators, if they're tracking our phones, brothers and sisters, you got to understand, they're tracking the drugs too. But obviously, they're allowing them to get through. The new balloons promise a cheap surveillance platform that could follow multiple cars and boats for extended periods. In other words, they put the balloons up when they want, they put them up when they want, where they want, they take them down when they want, and they surveil whom they want, which is basically everybody doesn't take that mark, you see. My point is, if you don't take the mark, you will be found. And you will not buy or sell unless your little cell phone has biometric access and it is linked into the global 5G quantum financial network, and they're already tracking. So this article I read the other day says they're already tracking all of the fiat currency. In other words, the currency that we use today is called fiat currency because it's not backed by gold or silver. All right, let's go on back to the article. Anyway, that's what the article the other day. It's not me saying that, that's the article. Neither Sierra Nevada nor Southcom responded to Quest for comment on the story. However, the rival balloon operator Worldview recently announced that it had carried out multi-week test missions in which its own stratospheric balloons were able to hover over a 5-mile diameter area for 6.5 hours, and larger areas for days at a time. The very nature of these balloons is that they can operate for weeks and months. Point is, tracking. That's what they want. You think that they're trying to find rabbits? You think they're trying to find children that wander out into the woods? No. This is all preparation for a time they understand is coming. They understand is coming when no one can buy or sell. The challenge is how to harness the stratospheric winds to be able to create a persistent station-keeping capability for customers. They don't have to worry about the winds. They don't have to control the winds. They control the balloons when they go up and when they go down, and they just simply launch them according to will. Not a problem. So it goes on to say, this company that's supplying the balloons for Southcom, launching them from its facility in South Dakota, told The Guardian, that's the one that wrote this article here, that these balloons remain aloft for nearly a month. The point is, they're going to be surveilling all of us. Now, let me bring this back to Bible prophecy. December 7th, 2005, my wife Leslie had a dream. Situation was we were having this guy come in. He was making a DVD about how he saw that underneath the oceans of the earth, it was actually the whole story of man. And it's actually quite interesting. But in the process, that night she had a dream. Now, this dream's real important. It says several things here. She said, in the dream, we were walking downtown, and it was the blackest black of night I'd ever seen. Something was causing a supernatural darkness, darker than the darkest night. There was no moonlight, and the stars looked strange. They appeared like clustered together. They appeared like bubbles in a bubble bath, in that they were all having this halo or bubble around each star. Like a soap bubble has a rainbow look to it, the stars were clustered together, each with a halo, and appeared much closer to the earth than they are now. And of course, she had a drawing, which of course I can't describe here. What appeared to be the clusters of stars, she says, may have been debris, as if something had exploded in space, as if a meteor had exploded in outer space, which we know is coming, or a cluster of meteors, or a nuclear explosion, or some kind of big explosion in the satellite belt area around the Earth might cause debris to appear this way. Also, one way intercontinental ballistic missiles are destroyed is by a nuclear blast within 10 miles of the missile. She says, I had a very strange feeling in the spirit. I was pressed to go to a tall building, and I said, Stan, we have to go in, and we have to go to the top of this building now. Our children were with us, and others began to follow. As we passed by people, Stan would yell, follow us. We have to get to the top. We were walking up a ramp, As we're walking up the ramp you drive a car down to enter into a garage, I realized that actually the building had been turned upside down. She says, this was the way the Lord was telling me that the earth has turned upside down. Now, we're going to read the scripture on that in just a second. In the dream, I could see through the walls and see out the top of the building and down below as if it were transparent. Water, this is actually real important here. Water was rising all around the building. It was not coming up like a stream as if a dam had broken, but rather coming up from everywhere out of the ground. It was not raining, but water was just coming out of the ground from everywhere, rising higher and higher. Stan and I yelled at the people, come quickly, get to the top of the building or you'll die. We passed by a teacher, stopping to have a cigarette, who had a group of small children with her, and I said, what are you doing? She said, well, I'm taking a break. I said, no, you don't have time to take a break. Keep moving. We could see the water continuing to rise. The teacher stayed behind, but many of the children with her left her and began to follow us. I looked at the sky again. Next to one of the clusters of the debris of stars was an extremely large object moving across the sky. I asked Stan, what is that, a UFO? And he said, no, this is one of their satellites that they have hidden from us. It is used, and this is the reason I'm bringing this into today's broadcast, it is used to track the people of the earth. It was wobbling in the midst of the debris. I saw 2 more of the same satellites. Now, let me try to describe what the satellites looks like from the drawing she had drawn. You know those old-fashioned barbells that were not just had like pancakes on the end, that was giant, big pancake like in things that you slide on the end of the barbells for people to lift weights. But if you can try to imagine having 2 bowling balls on the end of the barbells, well, that's kind of what this looked like. And there was 2 round objects connected with a bar between them, except for the round objects were really big and the bar was more small. It was more like 2 small round satellite type deals with a bar connecting them. And who knows, maybe that's a future satellite system to hook 2 of them together with a bar. I don't know. But anyway, let's go on back. It was wobbling in the midst of the debris, and I saw 2 more of the same satellites. One of the children following us up the ramp asked, where's the water coming from? I said, I don't know. It's just coming up from the ground. I knew the earth had turned upside down and water was coming out of the ground everywhere. There was no stopping it. The children asked, what about the people that live where the water is frozen? Are they being bothered by this? And I said, yes. The only difference is there, ice is rising out of the ground everywhere. In other places, super cold water is rising. As if it reaches them, they freeze immediately. We made it to the top of the building, and others were still arriving. The water appeared to recede. Some of the people got so excited and began to run back down the ramp, and I yelled, no, don't go down. It's not over. You have to stay up here to be safe. Our son Bentley found an old Cadillac on top of the building, and it got started, and he said, Dad, let's go get some more people. They went back down and picked up as many as they could carry. I could sense all kinds of emotions in the dream. I felt excitement and fear. There was anxiousness and a wondering about what is going on. Everything seemed chaotic. Now, her interpretation, then we're going to talk about it, is I believe the Lord was showing me what it will be like when the earth turns upside down. Those who listened to the prophet's warning lived. People who went their own way died. Some, like the teacher, were more interested in sin and pleasures of flesh than helping themselves or others, and they died. The teacher represents teachers of the Word of God who knew but did not tell the people. Isaiah 24, verse 1 says, Behold, the Lord maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. If you like Prophecy Club, if it is one of your ministries that you support, if you feel like we're doing the right thing, then would you consider sending us a donation? It's summertime, and man, our donations have dropped just down to almost nothing. So if you could help us right now, it would really be appreciated. prophecyclub.com.
Engage in the battle to win lost souls to Christ by supporting this ministry today.